James, Auburn is 2-0 in October against two really bad teams, San Jose State and Kentucky. This Auburn team's treating it as if though it's a turnaround, it's a new start, and they're about to hit the road again for a second straight week at Arkansas against a team in which they've had success against these last 2 years, but Auburn is not favored going into this game.
No, and it's twofold. There's one, in fact, yes, because what you're saying that Auburn has won these 2 games. They are 2-0 in October is their big thing right now in between the hallways. That's what they're really preaching, which you can understand.
Right.
Like after a rough September, some positives that they've won. However, they haven't looked terribly impressive overall. The offense looked impressive in the first half against Kentucky. It was not a terribly impressive performance against San Jose State. The defense was impressive in neither game. There were some timely plays against Kentucky, but overall stats was not there, which is why you would say, well, how come Auburn off 2 wins is an underdog on the road against Arkansas, who off a bye week, yes, but before that kind of got manhandled quite a bit by Alabama? Well, because this team, even though they've won some games, Arkansas has, even though their losses, have been pretty competitive. And they are a very big team, in particular on the offensive line. And we spoke with about that today. And some surprising confidence when it comes to the offense.
There's confidence, and then there's just maybe not even knowing what you're talking about. And that has happened twice this year from some players. Rudy Ford talking about Leonard Fournette, saying he shouldn't really be that big of a challenge. We respect him, said all the right things along those lines, but then Leonard Fournette ran all over him. And then today you got DaVonte Lambert saying that, you know what, this Arkansas offensive line, it's no big challenge.
What kind of challenge does Arkansas's offensive line in the run game present?
There's no big challenge. Something we face every week. We just have to stop the run.
Well, Arkansas's offensive line is the largest offensive line in the universe in all of football.
That's not hyperbole, yeah. It's really
in all of football. NFL, college, amateur, your backyard fall league you play on Thanksgiving Day. And he says it's no big challenge. We'll find out Saturday, but the numbers don't lie. There is a 26-pound difference per human being on these offensive lines for Auburn and Arkansas.
Yeah,
DaVonte Lambert, who hasn't had a great season, says it's no big challenge.
And he's coming off a knee, and he has done better the last couple of games he has. But when he's facing this challenge in particular, it's one thing, as you say, to be supportive of your own guys. It's one thing to say that you're confident. But that kind of, it just seemed out of place.
There's a weird
physical challenge here. There's a disconnect
here
between confidence and being self-confident and the reality of the difficulty of the challenge.
And let's face it, when you put a player up there and you're a player, you know what you're saying means something. And when you say something is not a big challenge, that's what you mean.
Yeah, and if you said it the other way, you know how the other team's going to take it, because if they said the same thing, that quote-unquote bulletin board material, or whatever you want to call it nowadays.
Oh, that'd be bulletin board material.
Yeah, to that offensive line.
Arkansas put their 5 offensive linemen on their media guide cover. They consider that a big deal there. Yeah. And when you call them out, they're not going to like that very much. So there you go. I thought that was the big thing today. Yep. This team is bragging and talking about turnaround with 2-0 start, and yet Arkansas's offensive line, the biggest challenge of the season, no big challenge.
Yeah, does seem to be a disconnect there. We'll see if it ends up being so. It holds true on Saturday, but there is a disconnect between the 2 statements for sure.
Very strange few weeks here in Auburn.